Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the podcast where we discuss all things USMNT, La Selección Mexicana, El Tri. My name is Adrian. Join me once again. It's my co-host Tocayo. Well, not joining me because he's been filling in for us for the last past month and a half. Adrian, appreciate it, man. I'm back. Glad to be back. Good to see you and good to see all the PPG Nation. So, Adrian, man, how's your week going?
It's going okay. All things considered, not too bad. Glad to have you over here as well. I know some of the PPG fam have been asking what's up with you, but it's nice to finally have you joining us on a very, very interesting point of the Gold Cup, if you ask me.
Yeah, interesting point of summer futbolero, right? So much soccer
Yes,
going on.
a lot.
Club World
Tons,
Cup,
man.
obviously. I haven't got your thoughts on Club World Cup, man. What are your thoughts on it so far?
I've liked it so far. I've liked it so
Yeah,
far. I think very interesting matches going on. I mean, if I was telling one of my buddies recently at work where a lot of these matches I could only imagine them when I was a kid. Like I always thought, oh, well, like, it will be cool to see, a Korean team facing a African team or whatever, right? And so it was nice to see like Mamelodi Sundowns against all the UD Ulsan. It's nice to see, for example,
Boca Juniors, Auckland.
yeah, that was an interesting one. I've been enjoying the Brazilian teams against the European sides. It's been an interesting kind of matchup,
Yeah,
and I think overall I liked it. I liked it so far. It just kind of sucks that I guess it's not been necessarily outstandingly well for most of the European sides, right? With all the heat and whatnot. I mean, poor them playing on a
35 degrees
33,
Celsius,
exactly
which for
35
them
degrees
is yeah,
Celsius, like 89, 87 degree
right.
Fahrenheit for them. But I get it. I mean, all things, if you put things into perspective, even though they technically start their season when it's still technically summer, summer in Europe, it's freaking like, it's a cool weather. It's not freaking 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius or above,
Yeah,
So also with the humidity and whatnot, but all of that aside, I think it's been great. What it's not been great is, as you said, like I guess I should be grateful for having this much football happening on this summer, but it's too much, man. It's overload. I I just cannot seem to freely enjoy the matches as much as I want because I'm like, well, there's another match coming up, and I feel
it's a lot.
forced to watch a few of these matches. So,
Yeah, I
what do
think
you
I've
think?
been likewise, man. I think it's been good. It's been a lot, like you said. It's been fun to see the Mexican teams and the MLS teams see how they perform, how they stack up. Monterrey plays tonight. We're recording this June 25th. They're playing
Hmm.
in a couple minutes, right? Try to get their pase to the next round. But yeah, it's cool seeing them play South American teams like we were used to back when they had Libertadores, right? And Copa Sudamericana. But seeing how they stack up, and I agree with you on the European thing. I think a lot of I've been reading comments and articles from European based sources saying that it's not just the heat; it's that they're wrapping up a long, grueling season and they're playing at the end of it. While Brazil and other leagues are kind of in the middle of theirs, right? MLS and whatnot, or kind of just finishing theirs or on break or whatnot, so they're rested.
Hmm.
Um, but Liga MX just ended. That's not an excuse for them, but
No,
whatever.
yeah, exactly.
But we're not here to really focus on the Club World Cup. It'd be cool to make a video on that other end. Maybe we can here in the next round, right? See if any Mexican team passes.
Yeah.
But well, Pachuca's out, right? We know that.
So it's only
Um,
Monterrey, man. It's
Monterrey,
kind of a hard one for them
yeah.
to move on.
But we're here to talk about the Gold Cup. The group stage is done. We got some massive, important matchups coming up in the quarterfinals, and today we're going to break down specifically how the USMNT and how El Tri performed, what surprised us, who they'll face on their path, going forward to the final, on opposite sides of the bracket, obviously. So we could see another
Hmm.
USMNT Mexico final, which would be another great classic, I think. But
It's what we all want.
it's what we all want. It's what the
Hmm.
the TV providers want. It's what the fans want. It's what the stadium owners want. But let's go into the talk about group stage before we do the preview, Adrian, of the next round. Obviously, the group stage with 4 groups of 4. And there was an invited team, Saudi Arabia, who performed well enough to qualify the next round. Obviously, having Coach Year, a great fan of, right? A coach that was talked about to maybe be the USMNT coach before they hired Pochettino.
Hmm.
But we'll start off with the USMNT, and then we'll talk about Mexico. So
All right.
USMNT Group D, Adrian, team to go 3-0 in their group matches. One Group D without much worry, I would say. There were some games where we were like, what's going on here? They got a goal scored against by IT, barely beat Trinidad or not Trinidad, Saudi Arabia. But they ended up winning all their three games. And off the top of your head, Adrian, who stood out to you as standout player?
I think there's if I have to choose one and not only one, I think the no-brainer here is Malik Tillman. And Malik Tillman has been carving a name for himself on this roster, right? I mean, we all know that this is not the USMNT A team, and we've been discussing the A team and this and there, and all this stuff, right? But it's true that this is not the bulk of the players that we normally see on the starting 11 for the USMNT.
Yeah,
But this is the perfect opportunity for some of these players to make a case for themselves and be considered a part of that A team.
right.
And if there's one who's making that case, making it harder for Mauricio Pochettino is Malik Tillman. I think he's the standout player for me on this group stage.
And he hasn't just been standing out for you and PPG USMNT fans, but I think the world's watching, and he's getting himself a move to Bayern Leverkusen. Not official yet,
Yeah.
but it's looking like very likely. And on the other side of that coin, somebody who hasn't been standout, who has received very few minutes under Pochettino and under previous coach Berhalter, who's also making the move, Johnny Cardoso. He's kind of been disappointing. We know he's moving out of Atletico Madrid. That's, I think, become official this week.
All
Um,
right.
so
Good move.
he's going to be someone that's going to be wanting to stand out when he does get a chance to play. He's been disappointing in the minutes he has had in this tournament. You just expect more from him based off his performances in La Liga, right? So
Hmm.
Johnny Cardoso is maybe my disappointment of the match after the 5-0 win against Trinidad, the 1-0 win against Saudi Arabia, and the 2-1 win against Haiti, and one that has scored two goals, but it's like everyone is burning him on social media, Patrick Aguemang, who we talked about a couple months ago, Adrian, and
Hmm.
praised for his performances under Pochettino. He has had a very up and down Gold Cup. Yes, he scored two goals, but he has missed a lot of important,
A lot of them,
easy
yeah.
chances. And
Hmm.
is this guy really the striker for the team in this Gold Cup? If it is, they're going to be struggling to score against better defenses.
I really don't understand exactly why Mauricio Pochettino is focused or adamant on keeping him as the main striker for this Gold Cup. My assumption is that he likes his ethic, his work ethic, his work rate. He I guess maybe praises the fact that this is a guy that whenever he gets called up, he shows up and no questions asked. Right? I mean
Yeah.
that's perhaps the case here, but it isn't like he doesn't have any other options that in paper are better than Aguiman, right? You have Haji Wright there. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my
Who
mind.
got injured, to be fair to him. So he's back
Yeah,
in Europe. Yeah.
well, that kind of sucks. You have Brian White as well, right? Which I think Brian
Brian,
White has,
yeah.
yeah, all things considered, keeping in mind, keeping in the back of my head the MLS season that he's been having. I think Brian White deserves a shot ahead of Aguiman, if you ask me. But I just don't. I don't understand. I don't think this justifies not calling up someone like Josh Sargent or just someone else, man. I don't know. I mean, nothing against him. I think Aguiman is
Brandon
definitely
Vasquez.
a. I don't know about Fernando Vasquez at all. It's been sucking
Yeah.
pretty badly for Austin FC. Now that Austin FC is a great team, you know this. I don't like Austin FC. I have a bias towards them, but anyways, that aside, yeah, it's been hard for me to understand exactly this move.
Yeah.
Why baffles me. But maybe Pochettino has this big picture idea that you and I are not privy to it. Maybe we just don't know. Maybe he's a genius and he finds Aguiman to have to be the angular piece on this USMNT side.
Yeah. Before we move on from stand-up players and notable players and players that may have not stood out or lived up to expectations, I want to bring up Diego Luna, a player who played well in their first game against Trinidad and Tobago, but has since faded in this tournament. Really,
Yeah.
so he is one that started against Trinidad. Came off the bench against IT, and we know Pochettino thinks highly of him, but he's one that is not living up to the level we know he can play at, and we
Yeah.
know that going forward, if the USMNT really wants to make an effort to get to the final, they're going to have to rely on his playmaking skills to get there. So let's see if he wakes up and is able to maybe play in that trident of Tillman, Luna, and Aronson, who like you said, it's not their A team, but it's close to it. Adrian Tillman is an A team, A and a half team player. Adams,
Hmm.
Richards, Tim Ream,
Richards.
right? So yeah, what have your thoughts been on the duo of Tim Ream and Richards? I think they've been pretty solid.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
I mean, look
looking
who they're
at the
playing, right?
exactly looking at the opposition, yes, they look great. Um, I think Richards made the best choice for himself and choosing to be part of this team rather than taking a leap of absence or just a vacation like the other guys did. Um, just because I believe that if he was on the fringe of Mauricio Pochettino's list of maybe not being a starting player but being a sub player, I
Hmm.
think this will put them on the other side of the balance, right? It will put them on the position where Pochettino can trust you and you can show up
Yep.
and you will put up with things. So this is, I think, is good for Chris Richards. Tim Ream, man, I think Tim Ream. The only reason why he's playing, don't get me wrong, I don't think he's done a bad job in this group phase, but the only reason why he's playing is because of his, I guess, um,
Leadership,
senior, yeah, leadership or
seniority.
seniority level. Because honestly, this is another thing that I don't get it. Why isn't McKenzie? Why is McKenzie
Yeah,
on
we've
the
been
bench?
calling on him for the last 3 years since we've been doing this channel.
Yeah, I mean, I get
He
it.
just doesn't get a
Maybe
chance.
a year ago, sure, Tim Ream was still playing at the highest level,
Yeah,
Fulham, EPL. But now he's playing in MLS, and I don't see how MLS is better than playing a league on like Mackenzie's doing.
yeah,
So it's another one. It's another big question mark for me. But overall, Team Ring, Chris Richards, I think they've been, as we say in Mexico, cumplidores.
yeah. Mackenzie's got to be like, what do I have to do to get a start?
Yeah, man, for
Right?
real. If it wasn't with Berhalter, now it's Pochettino. He plays in Europe. Like, what else does he need to prove, right?
Yeah. On our agenda here, we have kind of discussed coaching and staff of Pochettino. It's kind of hard to really nail down because Pochettino has been such a coin flip for the USMNT in that
Right.
he's had some good games, then he's had some really poor games, and then really, really poor games. He's won these three, but can he really be satisfied? I mean, you have all these players that are playing in Europe, barely beating Haiti, barely beating Saudi Arabia, destroying a very weak Trinidad team. Yeah, you got all 9 points. Yeah, you only received one goal, but are you really satisfied with how the USMNT has been performing? I'm not sure he is too much. You know, watching him on the sideline, watching him celebrate those goals, it's like you don't see him too happy celebrating. It's like, man, we should be doing more, right? Diego
Yeah.
Luna should be beating his man. We should be clearing that line. We should be, finishing that chance. So I don't know. He'd be happy to win the group, but I think he still expects more from this team, and rightfully so. Um, Adrian, the USMNT is playing Costa Rica. They play on June 29th in Minneapolis, and Costa Rica, who I was shocked when I saw Keylor Navas playing just because he hadn't played in the previous 2 or 3 editions of the Gold Cup ever since he was in Madrid and stuff like that. I think he was too good for the Gold Cup, maybe, I don't know, but we normally would see Keylor Navas playing just World Cup games for Costa Rica and qualifications for Costa Rica. How should the USMNT attack this Costa Rican defense that we saw is very good with Keylor Navas, can hold the park the bus very well, which we saw against Mexico, and USMNT having a weak attack. How can they break this defense down? Do you think?
Um, Here is my okay. Knowing El Piojo, right? Because El Piojo is a staple in Liga MX and
Yeah,
also in Mexican football overall. I'm pretty sure he's gonna keep on trying his counterattack, vertical football. He, kind of like a very physical, intense, trying to recover the ball and then push for a quick counterattack. I think the USMNT has to be aware of that. The biggest situation here with El Piojo is if he's playing a line of five on the back, most likely he's going to have a lot of openings on those flanks because the wingbacks, more often than usual with a Piojo, are more offensive minded than defensive minded, right? And so to me, those are the areas where the USMNT has to explore and exploit those opportunities. I don't think it really matters if you don't have a very strong striker because if your wingers can do pretty much all of the job, by taking advantage of those, that the free range they're going to have because it is going to happen. They can definitely help others, name it the striker or the box to box midfielders, or even if the other wing back is joining the attack from the other side and coming from the back, whoever is managing the ball through that open space can either cross it or find one of those landmines or whatever. But I think that's the focus here is making sure that you can capitalize on those open spaces because you're going to have them. I don't think El Piojo Herrera is going to try to play it so that you go all the way to the penalty shootout or extra time. I think he's going to try to win it, knowing that he's not the favorite team, winning it with a quick counterattack. And so it's interesting to see that El Piojo is getting better at parking the bus because they did
yeah,
they did it against Mexico. But this is not a great Costa Rica team, all
It's
things
not.
considered. Like, yeah, it's not. It's a. I understand that not all of them play in the local league. A lot of them are MLS based players. I saw that they had like a player who, someone who plays in Latvia, some other who plays in like somewhere in Europe. Um, but yeah, they are. It's not a very strong team. I think the USMNT shouldn't have a lot of issues winning the match. But hey, as you mentioned, with Pochettino, it's kind of a coin flip, right?
Yeah, you brought up a good point. That I agree with you 100% that there's going to be Picard in the bus and trying to look for those on the sides, trying to score right on a counter
Hmm.
attack. Um, I don't think it's going to be as easy as you make it sound to be. I think they're going to be going extra time. I think the USMNT is going to win 2-1, but I think it's going to be a very difficult match. And I think the USA is just not going to be living up to what they should be, right? I don't know. I just haven't been convinced with the squad, Adrian. I haven't been convinced as much as and as excited as it was to see Pochettino in CONCACAF and see what he could bring to this USMNT team. I've been too convinced. So until he has a dominating victory in one of these games that matter, it's always going to be doubt. So I don't think they're going to lose, but it's going to be harder than what the pundits and what a lot of people are thinking for this USMNT squad.
I mean,
So
I don't blame you, man. I mean, it's pretty much what we've seen throughout the group phase and over the last few matches, the friendlies that Pochettino has had.
yeah,
I mean, the fact that you don't have your stronger players, it just definitely puts you in a more dire position, right? But
yeah.
listen,
So we'll
I think
see.
it can go either way. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Costa Rica advances.
Nah,
That's how
get
I'll
out
put
of
it.
here. There's no
I
freaking
wouldn't.
way, man.
I just man, I just see it as one of those games where it's like 0-0 towards 90th minute and Costa Rica score off a corner or something.
There's no
One
way.
of, one of those.
There's no
Let me
way, man.
write it here first. Pin it. Pin it. But yeah. So as you say, Costa Rica, man. Let's talk about La Selección Mexicana, El Tri, who won their Group A with 7 points, 2 wins, 1 draw. That draw coming very controversially against Costa Rica. We know
Mm.
Santi
That's a
Jimenez got
golazo, man.
robbed
Yeah,
of
this
a
shit was a golazo,
golazo.
bro.
Yeah. But ended up, winning on goal differential over Costa Rica in that group, winning 3-2 versus República Dominicana after a nervy start, right? The República
Hmm.
Dominicana playing a
Hmm.
very, very good game. 2-0 against Suriname, and then that 0-0 draw against Costa Rica. Adrian, this Group A did present Mexico with some challenges here or there, but ultimately I
Hmm.
think they were dominant in their matches. What was your initial reaction to this Group A for Mexico?
I mean, as I've said on our reaction videos, if y'all seen it, my main topic here is Mexico just not feeling or not looking as if they have been playing for a while together, right? As if they are not understanding what El Vasco Aguirre is trying to tell them, as if they don't have any chemistry, as if they don't know each other, as if this is the first time they're playing together. Now, I don't know if it's El Vasco trying to prove something and find a new way to have a different system, a different strategy, a different approach to this, but it definitely showed on not only the friendlies before the Gold Cup, but against República Dominicana and Suriname. I mean, it was very difficult to see Mexico linking three passes in a row, right? They will do them, and then on the third one, they either lose the ball or get challenged and lose it on a tackle, or just get, rob of the ball. So that's to me, it's been the main topic here. The big difference between the first two matches and the one against Costa Rica is that I think El Vasco realized that he had to stop trying different things because this is not the time to try new things. This is not the moment to start testing things out. This is the moment for you to buckle up and just stick to your guns. And I think that's what they did against Costa Rica. Unfortunately, it also happens that the strikers have not had a great tournament so far, right? Um, and I mean this in the way that they haven't been predominantly great in any of these matches. I know that Raúl Jiménez has scored, but for your top scorer
Cesar
is
Montes
Cesar Montes, is a center back.
with three
The
goals.
Exactly, with 3 goals. And so, listen, more than Mexico having a shaky start, I think we have to be just honest with ourselves and yet again realize that the region is getting better. Mexico isn't, right? I think the 3-2 with the República Dominicana is more of a República Dominicana getting way better than we thought.
Nah, 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 nah.
Dude,
I think it was
dude,
Mexico playing just bad, dude. I don't think
dude,
Republican.
República Dominicana was a really good match from
It
República
was,
Dominicana.
it was, but Mexico, dude. Just like I said about USMNT, USMNT playing way below their standards. Mexico this tournament has been playing well below their standards. I think Mexico's high point is a lot higher than what we've seen so far, and I think they would clear these three teams out the water if they were clicking, but they're not clicking.
I mean, you do have a point. To me, it's like I saw the same mistakes and I saw the same behavior against Switzerland and Turkey that what I saw against República Dominicana and Suriname. I saw the same thing. The only difference here is that República Dominicana and Suriname are not top 20 FIFA ranked teams.
Not
And
able
that's
to
the
take
whole reason.
advantage of Mexico's mistakes.
To me, that's the case. And also, I mean, of course, I also believe that the Mexican players got comfortable against República Dominicana because why or who would have thought they would have put up a good fight? And they did. I think
Yeah.
for that match, it's more of República Dominicana being way better than what we thought. And also in combination with Mexico just slacking, right? Not having the the performance that we anticipate.
I mean, they
So
were up 2
that's
nil. They got comfortable.
exactly. They got comfortable, they got cocky, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, I have to, put a pedal to the metal, and you find yourself, scrapping for keeping the advantage all, over the last few minutes. But that's my my review or my summary of the group stage with Mexico.
Well, Adrian, we talked about this with the USMNT portion, talking about it here. Were there any standout players that you thought? For me, let me go first. I think Marcel Ruiz has been very good for Mexico this tournament. He's been really able to control the midfield. I think he's finally got his chance. We saw him,
Hmm.
oftentimes with previous coaches, really just kind of be a fringe player, right? So I think he's been a good player that I think has taken advantage here. And one that I don't think is taking advantage. Unfortunately, they ruled out his golazo, but he's still not scoring for Mexico. Santi
Yeah,
Jimenez.
and the
We saw
Jimenez
him. We
man.
saw him start the first with a double pivot of dos Jimenezes against the República Dominicana, and then that changed to just Raúl Jimenez and Quiñones in the second match, and then ultimately just Raúl Jimenez in
Jimenez.
the match against Costa Rica.
Hmm.
Any standout or notable not performers for you?
Okay, so for me, there's a very few positives from this group stage. Two of them, in my view, are Marcel Ruiz. Of course, I 100% agree with you, and I've said this plenty of times, and I'm gonna say it again. Marcel Ruiz definitely earned this position or his chance to be part of the starting 11 for Mexico, and Mexico looks way more dangerous with him than with Charlie Rodriguez or with any other name that you can put in here, right? It's great to see Marcel Ruiz because he's truly a box-to-box
Yeah,
midfielder.
that we've been
He
missing.
defends and he also finds himself in a on offensive positions while you're doing that transition. He finishes a play on the opposition side, and he also comes back to recover the ball if needed. So that's great. I mean, it just goes to show how much growth he has experienced over at Toluca. And the other one for me, which I think should definitely get way more opportunities here, is Mateo Chavez. Mateo Chavez had a great season with Chivas, all things considered. Putting all things into perspective, Chivas suck, but Mateo Chavez had a really good season with them. Um, and it goes to show that people notice, and he's not going to play with AZ Alkmaar in Eredivisie. He was great, in my opinion, against Switzerland. It was one of the few positive things that I saw. And then on this last match against Costa Rica, if I'm not mistaken, he was also one of the good things that I saw on that match. He is aggressive. He also can run the entire pitch. Sure, he can definitely improve on the defending skills that are required, but he's not afraid. He will put up with a challenge. He goes, pretty much full face into it. It's able to supplement the wingers when needed, and I liked how he complemented, if I'm not mistaken, is Alexis Vega on that side, both defensively and offensively speaking. So for me, those are the two big standout players for the group performance. On the other hand, I believe that Santi
Let me.
Jimenez
Ooh, I was gonna say. Let me guess. Luis Chavez.
Santi Jimenez is one, and for the same reason that we always mention here, is he's not taking advantage of his chances. It's a shame that that outstanding goal was disallowed. I mean, if
Yeah,
I was the referee, I would have just said, "Hey, you know what? Let's just allow it. It was a great goal."
he was
Why?
Guatemalteco, bro.
I
He
know he
wasn't
was
gonna allow
hating.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was hating for sure, because that was just the best ending for that match, right? That would have been outstanding for the I guess the ratings and everything. I mean, it would have been great for him,
Yeah.
you know, uh, I guess mentally speaking. But that's one, and the other one. I mean, yeah, Luis Chavez has been meh. I mean, okay. What I mean, I guess he's coming back from an injury, so we're gonna give him a break. Um, but I think for me, El Piojo Alvarado. El
Mm.
Piojo Alvarado has been next to okay, next to barely performing. Right, this is a guy that we all have these high hopes and always saying that, hey, he's the best, one of the best Mexican wingers in the league. He's perhaps the best player at Chivas. El Piojo Alvarado here, Piojo Alvarado there. But every single chance he has with Mexico, he's short of a disappointment. If you, I mean, I don't want to be harsh, but I didn't see anything that struck me as this guy is getting better with Mexico, or he deserves to be playing ahead of Chino Huerta.
Yeah.
Honestly.
The best thing that came from Piojo Alvarado this tournament was, ah, chinga, te llamas Roberto? When Javier
Yeah,
Aguirre didn't even know his name. Uh,
exactly, exactly.
but yeah, I agree with you. He should not be starting over Chino Huerta, who I think Chino Huerta has been one of the few good sparks coming off the bench for Mexico. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, so let's discuss, Adrian, their upcoming matches. Match, right? So, Mexico will be playing Saudi Arabia. This is going to be
rematch.
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, June 28th. You're right. A good rematch here against a very interesting team, invited team, a team with a very good coach. Saudi Arabia, we saw them obviously lose to the United States in a game where they played well. I think they were able to park the bus, hold off the USMNT, but ultimately lost. Mexico's going to be playing in Arizona, so it's going to be a game where obviously in the United States we know that they play at home. So
Yeah.
98% pro Mexico or 100%. What does Mexico have to do to get the advantage over Saudi Arabia? A Saudi Arabia team, I'm not going to lie here and say that I know too much about, that you know too much about. I don't think we really watch Saudi Arabian national
No,
team.
not
So
really.
we know, what's the name? Ren, what's the name? The coach? Harvey
Renard, I think
Renault.
Renard.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forget his name or how to pronounce it. But how can Mexico capitalize and open this strategy that we know that he likes to kind of shelter down? It's going to be similar to the USMNT versus Costa Rica. They're going to just wait for an opportunity. They have fast wingers. What does Mexico have to do? And who does he go with this 4-4-2 or 4-2-1-3 that he 4-2-3-1 that we know that he likes to use, Javier Aguirre, that is?
I mean, there's just a couple of matches here that will make El Vasco Aguirre work hard and put his thinking hat and find a way to win. I think this game we should see a Vasco Aguirre that is that is trying something, right? I'm not saying he needs to do something crazy and go all out. All I'm saying is this is going to be an interesting match because Javier Aguirre's team are not necessarily known for being highly offensive. It's the other way around. So he'll need to find a way to be creative. I think my gut tells me that he's going to go with a 4-2-4 formation because he knows that the other team are going to be pretty much parking the bus. So we shall see two strikers for Mexico. I don't think it's going to be both Jimenez's. I think it's going to be Julian Quiñones and Raúl
Yeah,
Jimenez.
I agree.
And the other thing is, though, is Mexico has some decently paced wingers,
Yeah,
right? But I'm pretty sure that Saudi Arabian wingers are way faster than the Mexican defenders. Just from what I saw on these few group stage matches, and the fact that we have Jorge Sanchez and the other
yeah,
guy, Jesus Gallardo. I mean, they're not necessarily slow, but they're not extremely fast either. Um, I think El Vasco needs to be very, very careful on how much finding like a perfect balance between he continues to control the ball, but is able to dominate on the opposition side. Right? He doesn't want to find himself in a like he needs to encourage the team to finish every single play, so they don't find themselves in a position where it's a quick break and oh shoot, you're running against the ball or towards your goal. Right? I think
yeah.
that's the main key here.
Do you think, so you mentioned he's going to start Quinones and Raul Jimenez on the wings? Do you think it's going to be Chino Huerta and I'm blanking on
Alexis
Toluca's
Vega.
Alexis Vega? Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's going to be Alexis Vega for sure. And for some reason, Velasco, he likes El Piojo Alvarado.
yeah,
But I just cannot explain why. But he likes him, so I don't think he's gonna. If you look at the formations of every single match, I think there's maybe two players who were there on
the
every
whole,
single
yeah,
match,
and he
and
was one
both
of
of
them.
them were. Yeah, Piojo Alvarado was a starting player for all three matches,
Yeah,
right? And so I don't see why he will make a change now. But I do see having two strikers this time around.
yeah. Hopefully, those two strikers are able to unlock that defense. But yeah, I agree with you that Jorge Sanchez and Gallardo are not the fastest. And what we saw against USA and in the other group matches for Saudi Arabia, they do have fast, quick wingers. Now, can they finish? That was another thing,
Yeah,
another question, right? We saw them miss a lot of chances in their matches. Their other two matches in that group, and honestly have a lot of opportunities against the USMNT. Will be an interesting match against an interesting opponent that Mexico has history against, but not a lot of history like against Costa Rica,
Yeah.
one of these teams that they play against frequently, right? So it's going to be one
Hmm.
where it's an outlier and could present itself with some challenges. Adrian, what is your prediction for this match?
Man, I think it's going to be a tough one. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for Mexico. I think ultimately Mexico moves on. I think that's the expected here, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
also I'm waiting for. But I think this match is going to go to extra time, and I think this match has all written all over its face. It's going to
Dang,
be a boring. It's going to be a boring match. It's going to be a very tense match. A lot of like shots, but not on target.
a
And
lot of
then I
missed
think we're going.
opportunities for Mexico. You think?
I think so. And I think we're gonna see a very low, tight, close block of Saudi Arabia, and I think it's gonna be a sleeper match. It's gonna
Oh
be.
man.
I think it's gonna be a boring match, and Mexico moves on by the minimum. I think like a 1-0 situation on the extra time or whatever.
All right. Well, there's your prediction. Let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts for this Mexico match? Do you think it's going to be as challenging as Adrian thinks it is? Let us know who you would like to see playing in that match as forwards, and do you think Pio Alvarado starts for this fourth game in the Gold Cup?
Hmm.
Playing that in Glendale as well that day, Adrian Panama Honduras, and then on Sunday the other match, the other round of I guess 8 is Canada versus Guatemala. So I think the Canada versus Guatemala one is pretty easy to predict a winner with. I think
Yeah,
Canada,
I don't like.
right?
Yeah, mhm. I mean, there's no doubt.
And Panama Honduras, we might see another repeat of the semifinal of the Nations League. Panama should edge out Honduras, so it's
By
going
the
to be,
slightest. Yeah.
yeah, it should be again the big four of the recent last couple of years. Panama, who is now one of the big four, I consider Canada, USA, and Mexico in the semifinal if our predictions go to plan. Well, it's a lot of football. Rayados are playing right now, so let's go watch that. Or they started at 8, right? I think.
I mean, yeah,
Um,
it's like if they're in the 17, like
yeah.
18 minute or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, as we wrap up this episode before we go watch Club World Cup, where can our listeners find us, dude?
They can find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like button, and turn on notifications. We are also on TikTok and Instagram. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes. So go, follow us there. And yeah, let us know in the comments below. What do you think? You think Mexico's gonna make it all the way to the final? And yeah,
Yeah. Are you convinced Pochettino's still the man for the job? Let us know. Like I said, we like
that's
interacting with you
tough
guys
one,
in the
dude.
comment and
Tough
follow
one.
us on our social medias, like I mentioned, because we like posting a lot of funny memes, shorts, and if you like this content but you like it in short form, go follow us there because we highlight the most important points of our videos
Yes,
and
sir.
post them for you guys to have access to on there. So, I'm glad to be back. This is going to be an interesting tournament. We know it's starting to get good now. The group stage is over, so glad to be able to analyze that with you, Adrian, and see you in the next one, bro.
Always a pleasure, my friend. See
See you,
ya.
man.